Hello and welcome to the LampPod. It's me, Sam, and you,
Neil. Hello.
And this is the 46th podcast in the LampPod series that spans decades. I don't know, 4 years.
You can't shorten years, can you? To like millennium. Like, there's no cool shorten for a year.
No, I don't think there is.
Spans anniversaries. I don't know. Yeah, we're back, and I mean, I feel like I say that I start every week with "we're back."
We finally returned after a hiatus of 6 days.
Yeah, it's been no time at all. For you. But yeah, we're back to watch. So big release today, brand new release. We're gonna listen to the entirety of the Foo Fighters' new album.
Is that real?
I think I'm pretty sure it came out today. It was either today or yesterday.
I am unaware.
It's pretty good. I listened to it earlier. It's quite good. But no, yeah, we're watching WandaVision. We're watching what is it, episode 5 of WandaVision?
Yeah, it keeps confusing me because like this is the 4th time we do this. I'm
Yeah,
like, it's the
but
5th episode.
But yeah, they really
Disney.
They really threw us off on that first week.
Yeah. So this week I received a message from a friend of ours, Jack, who was on like the 3rd pod. No, that was Reese. I don't know which podcast
Jack was on
appeared on.
Yeah, like very early on.
Maybe like the 6th or the 5th.
He's featured
perhaps.
in highlights.
Yeah.
He's very, very cool guy, and he just did the artwork that we put up on our Instagram.
Oh yes, please check out
the LampPost official.
Yeah, the LampPost official. I was going to say T LampPost, but that's Twitter, which we don't use. Every time we upload a video, it always used to default to like follow us on Twitter, and I was like, why do we have that?
Yeah,
so
we don't do anything on Twitter.
Yeah, so in the description now it should say follow us on the LampPost official. Also, I had to do it like that so I could keep my hands in my green screen. It's very thin.
Can't see
anyway,
it, but sure.
Yeah. So what were we talking about?
Jack messaged you.
Jack messaged me out of the blue today whilst I was at work. Like, he just said WandaVision, and I was like, immediately was like, don't say anything. I haven't seen the episode. And like, Jack is a quite the critic. Let's say
he's always devil's advocate for this type of stuff. Like,
yes, and so for him to be excited about something like this is like pretty wild. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell happens this episode.
Yeah, so all of my housemates have watched it throughout today. I heard Neve say I am shooketh. She was
brilliant.
To which I told her to zippeth. And Jordan was like, yeah, it's pretty good. And I was like, okay. So there's two quite different reactions. I have had one thing spoiled for me. It's not really a major spoiler, but someone told me what. So
wait, don't spoil it.
No.
Oh god.
No, it's like the most minor thing, but basically the adverts are back.
Okay.
And I know what the product of the advert is, but not. I don't know like the Easter egg and stuff like that. I just know what the product is. Yeah.
Interesting. Is it toothpaste?
No.
Damn it! Fuck.
No. Again, similar sort of proximity, but not toothpaste.
Fuck. Hair care products. I don't know.
But yeah, so I'll leave all that speculation to you. I might try and speculate on who like the brand name is, but yeah, I know what the product is, which is really annoying because I do like that guessing game we do.
Yeah, I think even if you hadn't said that, I feel like we may have said last week that this week it would return potentially to that sort of TV format again after last week, the whole thing being out of the TV scenario. I'm now wondering if this week it'll be half TV scenario.
I'm thinking 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, intercutting with, now we know what's going on, it's like, let's cut between the two. Because it would be annoying to just go straight back to a full episode of the sitcom. Now the cat's out of the bag.
Unless more stuff like the radio and stuff happened. Like if there was
At
a
least
lot
this
of
time
that,
we would know, to sort of expect to see it again. I guess.
But yeah, so it should be 80s this week, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, I don't know, what's 80s? Brady Bunch? Was that the 80s?
Sure. I don't know enough about
maybe
American.
Cheers and Cheers seems 80s, right? Because
that
Frasier's
feels
90s.
Yeah. Hey, we could be fast approaching friends then.
Yeah,
please.
so next week.
Do something.
David Schwimmer.
Yeah, Mustache Man. He's going to lose it and it's going to be great. Maybe. I don't know. They mentioned Cheers in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't know what Cheers is.
Mm-hmm.
So do it. Do some kind of weird reference somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know how they would do it.
I'm very excited to see how this goes. Because I was watching earlier today, I went down like a rabbit hole on YouTube of all the behind the scenes, like featurettes and extras of various MCU movies.
Oh, right.
And one of them, I went from watching the Age of Ultron to Civil War, which is obviously Wanda's first 2 films.
Yeah.
And they were talking in the Civil War one about how Wanda is like the most powerful person in the MCU, but she's also like the youngest at the time. Like Spider-Man came in and obviously he kind of cuts that. But yeah, Wanda's like 23, 20, like maybe.
Yeah, potentially like
maybe younger.
Our age sort of thing. Well, yeah.
And obviously she was in the time jump as well. She was in the blip.
That's
so
true, yeah.
she hasn't aged the 5 years either.
Yeah.
So like, bit of immaturity, bit of like throwing a hissy fit, like, oh, my boyfriend died.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, especially obviously we know she never had parents as well, so she's had a rough upbringing as well, and like, yeah, you could totally sort of see that kind of angle. Obviously,
room for improvement with like emotional development, like for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, this is someone that's not been treated very. Oh, remember the image of her in the cell in Civil War? She's like in a straitjacket. And like she's not had a good time of it. And the other thing I forgot as well, actually, so based on what we saw last week, this takes place like 3 weeks after the blip.
Yeah.
So in the first episode, we sort of theorized that it was like the anniversary of his death, but for her, he literally died 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah,
it happened 5 years ago, but for her, it was literally like she dusted back, fought Thanos, and then like whatever happened in those 3 weeks.
All of her friends who had like a connection to Vision, really. Like, I guess there's some exceptions, but all of the core Avengers have had 5 years to deal with it.
Yeah.
Come to terms with it. Whereas she's out of the frying pan into the fire type thing. Like,
that is true, yeah. Of like the Age of Ultron roster.
Yeah.
Vision died, Quicksilver's been gone for ages, and then Scarlet Witch is the only one that
I guess dusted. The only person she could relate to would be Hawkeye, but he went straight back off to his fam.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Straight off to his Disney Plus show coming 2023 or something, I don't know.
Okay, so before we get started, because it's almost been 10 minutes.
Yes.
What do you think the advert's going to be this week?
Well, I keep calling for toothpaste, but you kind of debunked that theory.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You said it's something similar. So, hair care products, I don't know.
So like
but like,
shampoo?
what reference is it, you think? Is that what you mean?
Well, I for you both. For me, I will just guess like the name of the brand. I guess.
We've had, what was the last one? Hydra.
It was Stark Strucker Hydra.
So in theory, it could be Quicksilver.
Could be
Shield, or like Floating Island, Floating City,
Sokovia. Like,
calling it airlines. That airline has to happen.
Sokovia Airlines. Yeah, I kind of. Or Thanos Airlines. I'd be open to either.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I think that's a pretty good sort of coverage angle. Actually, final thing, I just want to drop it in. Jack brought to my attention a theory of, we were talking about villains. Who could the villain be? We're sort of like, if it had to be a villain, who would it be? You said the boss of S.W.O.R.D., and I was like, that's a fucking shout.
Yeah, that's
I can't remember who I said. I think I just couldn't think of one, so I said Mordo. Like, just out of...
Yeah, you were sort of like, don't want to say it, but I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. Interesting one, which I don't know if I sort of believe, but a lot of people apparently online think Agnes could be something to do with her.
She's very sort of outspoken about stuff, like
She's always
I
there.
feel like she might be the missing person.
That also
in
makes
the witness
sense.
protection thing, maybe.
Yeah. Because there's that lingering mystery now that they've sort of set up. Yeah.
Yeah, which sort of I feel like mostly has been forgotten.
Yeah, I wonder if that will actually play a role later on. But yeah, like I can kind of see it. I guess like she's the only other like lead character that isn't like dead Vision. So maybe
yeah,
it'll
like
be her,
between
but...
her and Herb, I feel like they've got the most amount of time. Like
it's gonna be Woo's the villain.
I hope magic. Not, but
he went too far learning his magic and he created a reality bubble.
he's just actually the main antagonist for Multiverse of Madness.
Hey, he was the first one there, so what was he doing there?
That is true.
All right. Anyway,
yeah,
cool. Right, what should the transition be this week? We could do like a snap of the fingers.
I'm just gonna point again.
Here we. Oh God!
What the
Holy
fuck?
Shit, dude!
My guy, what the shit?
The like double. The double like oh fuck.
So this week we're not going through it like step by step. We got to talk about this.
We just got to talk about the ending straight away
because we haven't spoken. We watched it together. We haven't actually said anything properly.
We literally got up, both peed, and we've come back and we've hit record.
Like they did so well in making the hair like match like almost.
Yeah. Did he have like silver hair? Okay, so
he had silver hair.
For anyone that hasn't seen the episode for some reason, Pietro, but the X-Men one, the one from Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, is
the actor from American Horror Story.
The other guy from Kick-Ass. is Quicksilver. He shows up at the door. So like, it was just. Go on, carry on.
Well, like I knew he'd been cast in it. I remember hearing about this casting and being like, "Oh, that's suspicious." So like, probably a bit of Multiverse of Madness or whatever. But I wasn't expecting him first.
Yeah. If I did know that, I definitely forgot by the time we watched this episode because that absolutely blindsided me. Like it was the hair, and it was like, "Oh shit." They got him. It's Aaron Taylor-Johnson. And then it was
knew
like,
what they were doing. The back of the head, I was like, "Oh, you cheeky bastards!" And then out of nowhere with the, oh man,
fuck.
The line
this is
from
huge.
The line from Darcy.
They recast Pietro.
What a line!
Aaron Taylor-Johnson is in shambles right now. God damn it, he says.
I need to find out the actor's name, real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a huge benchmark for Marvel.
Genuinely,
movies.
Yeah. This is potential. Like, would you agree that this is like Spider-Man showing up in Civil War levels of like insanity? Perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah, just not at all what I thought would ever happen. Like. I was like, yeah, okay, Marvel's bought Fox, cool. We're getting Deadpool, but that's it, surely. Like that. Yeah, that's
X-Men
the end
will come
of that.
Down the line way later, and here it is, first TV show, episode 5. Like, there's an X-Men.
The actor's name is Evan Peters.
Evan Peters, nice. Okay,
but like, arguably and probably correctly so, almost objectively. The better Quicksilver of the two, right? Like,
yeah, probably.
Like, at least the more entertaining to watch.
Definitely, yeah. And I don't even think like that's not even like a commentary on like Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I think he just didn't have a lot to do in that movie.
Yeah, and as cool as Aaron Taylor-Johnson's stuff is, like, they did slow-mo so much better in Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
and then upped it once again in Apocalypse. Like,
I feel like we're absolutely about to tangent into this, but like, I'm very particular about super speed in movies, and I feel like Age of Ultron handled it well, and then X-Men did the thing that is the coolest looking thing, but also the most game breaking. He's so fast in that movie that why is anyone else even there? They have to not let him go to Paris at the end of the movie so that they can actually have a finale.
And also,
they break his leg in Apocalypse. Yeah.
And also, the music doesn't work. As I bring up every time, every goddamn time I can.
Saying this is probably a podcast from 2017 or 2016 or whatever.
With us reviewing either Apocalypse or Days of Future Past, or maybe watching Days of Future Past. Right, we would have watched that.
Oh yeah, maybe actually.
But yeah, it is cool, and it's definitely style over substance.
But what is it? A tape? Is he listening to a tape or a disc?
Tape, I believe, but either way, it doesn't work.
It doesn't you wouldn't perceive the music like that. Even
Anyway,
anywho, he's in what? So he's in the episode.
We were right. Not to toot our own horns as we always seem to be doing, but we were correct. The episode was 50-50 pretty much.
Oh right, yeah, it was back and forth.
Well, I guess it was. Oh no, it was. We cut between a fair few times.
The biggest thing we were right about, and I think it was your sort of thing, was that it's about grief, and there was a scene where they just kept saying grief.
Repeating the word grief, man.
So whether or not that's actually, I suppose it is, she's in denial.
She needs to get out. You're not allowed to swim in the Nile.
Haha. Right. Sorry. Okay. Other hype moment before we go back to Quicksilver, because that's cool, but there it is. It's X-Men, whatever. The coolest moment in this episode was Scarlet Witch straight up opening her front door, fuck off! I'm doing this. Go away. Yeah. And she's just dragging the drone. That was the best of the episode for me. Personally.
That's probably my second favorite bit. I think my favorite bit was Vision standing up to Wanda.
Yeah,
just because we've never got to see that before.
Oh yeah, we've seen properly angry Vision. We've never actually seen
straight up. Yeah, so that was. But yeah, no, that was sweet. The Quicksilver moment was the big oh my shit. That's probably the biggest reaction I've had to the show.
Yeah,
but yeah, her walking out dragging the drone, the throw. I was like, oh man, that's some hot shit right there.
Because they were gonna shoot her as well.
Yeah. And then the turn.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
So you said last episode or last podcast, you said if it has to be a villain, it's going to turn out to be the sword guy. Mm-hmm. Now he is presented as an antagonist, but he's not. But as far as we know so far, he's not the one that's making Wanda do this.
No, he's an antagonist to Wanda.
Yeah.
But it's
the rest of the agents, I guess, because
it's the enemy of an enemy is my friend type thing. I don't think he's necessarily a good guy, but he's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
I think they've nailed it, and Wanda is the bad guy in this.
Oh yeah, it totally seems that way. Yeah. Unless there's more twists and turns to come. I think we are only halfway through the season, so what the fuck is gonna happen for the rest of the season?
Mate, it was that visual. We spoke about it when if it ever comes out, us watching it all together. We spoke about when she turns around after turning all the guns on the director, and she walks back into the thing, but the hex, as they've started calling it, glowed with red and seemed to be lingering and doing something.
Yeah, and it cuts away. And it was
and you were saying as they were off looking for Sparky, you were saying that you thought that maybe they'd expanded the hex so that everyone who was stood around Wanda is now going to be in the world, which I'm still not convinced that didn't happen. Maybe that's a reveal for the next episode
in the future. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the big reveal at the end of this episode. Yeah, it was you'd see Jimmy Woo hey neighbor,
yeah, hi, I've got your post for you today.
Yeah, I'm totally happy with what actually happened, but that was a peripheral other thing that could have been crazy.
And I'm not convinced that won't happen next week. Be revealed within time. But also I don't know, because then we lose the outside aspect again. So that would be my only issue with it. I like the idea.
They just keep introducing new secret agents that are like trying to figure out what's going on.
Gradually further away.
They're on the beach, like, what is this?
Okay, this kind of on topic, but not as relevant. But the beekeeper hazmat suit that we talked about before. I watched a featurette in the week. They kind of show that in the trailer. The bit of him crawling. You don't really see what it turns into, but like, I just want to say, I just want to put out there, put it out on the interweb. I've not seen that clip before, like this week.
Yeah.
So like that was pure prediction. I wanted to say that in the intro because I was like, we look like twats now, but
we like watch the marketing. We're like, what if?
we're like watching Civil War, like, but what if Spider-Man's in this film?
Yeah. Calling it, guys. I'm going to go into that theater and Spider-Man's going to appear.
Sorry to take us off course, but I wanted to make sure I got that out there at some point because
it's documented.
It's been on my head. It's been on my mind. Like, God, the 3 people that listen to this are going to think we're dumb. Yeah, fucking cool episode. The kids growing up. The bit where she like was like saying to the kids about not powering like growing
don't
up.
Grow. Yeah.
Like shit ton of foreshadowing and good writing there, I guess. Like that could not be more poignant.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like she got a cool scene. Like it's not that she's not just playing like mustache twirling villain. Like she's getting her like good emotional scenes and like there's a lot of acting happening. Like it's not just like it was a good scene when obviously like it was an amazing scene when she came outside of the barrier and stuff. But that was like 100% villain character.
Yeah.
Whereas like that then scene with like you can't bring people back from the dead. Like that was very like just like a well written like well acted scene. Like that. Even like if she could be a hero or a villain, you know, like it didn't really make a difference in that moment. She was just a human.
I'd like to think that this week has diluted the idea that Agnes is the villain. I kind of feel like there was too much of her like accepting what was going on, or like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah. She's sort of like what.
She seemed way too comfortable,
thing, right?
Yeah, like in the world, like cool, whatever. Like,
yeah,
not enough of a player.
Yeah. She's always there because I guess she's like that. She is that secondary character.
Yeah,
like,
she probably is just the neighbor, like in the real world, or like maybe even it's her house that they're in.
Oh
like,
my god! What if that actually is the case?
Like, and that's why she's always kind of nearby. Like, shit. In the last episode, when she's speaking to Herb, she's like on their driveway.
Yeah, she's just in their garden.
Yeah, for no reason. And then she's like, "See you later," and she fucks off.
She's
but
just like hovering around the house, I guess. Like,
so yeah, that's okay. There you go. There's a new theory from Neek. I think they're in her house.
Yeah,
done. Who needs to watch the rest of WandaVision? We know everything that's happening.
We've got it all right here. Other interesting things, like they are slowly answering certain questions. So they basically discover through experimentation that like the 70s gear that she was wearing is made out of Kevlar because Wanda's like deconstructed her bulletproof vest.
Yeah,
and made
she was wearing Kevlar when she went in. That was cool. That was interesting.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed that aspect of like, because it's not a movie, we can over several episodes like explore the nitty gritty of it. It's like, well, how do the clothes work? If it was a movie, they wouldn't cover that. I don't think.
So my one sort of nitpick with this episode, and it's not even a nitpick because like it was a cool thing they showed us. So like, was following on from that, they're like, what if we send in something of the time? But to me, a drone isn't of the time. That's like early 2000s, like tech. And like, I know they're shield and sword, and they've got they're like ahead of us and all that shit. But like, I would have liked something more recognizable. Like
Yeah.
more
They're
like,
kinda-
oh yeah,
yeah.
that's an 80s. That's like Sputnik the satellite. I know that's probably 90s, but like something like that, where you're like, yeah, that's a big first generation satellite thing that they've. I don't know what they could have sent in, but like a drone to
Yeah.
me, I was like, really?
It is kind of cheating because it's their 80s, not our 80s. So like, because we always see how like Shield is high tech, you can only assume in the 80s they had some like drone or whatever. Like you could totally imagine watching Agents of Shield and then like Coulson's undercover or whatever, and he's like, we can use this 80s Shield drone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shield had them years before everyone else did. Or, you know, like
It's
like it makes sense.
It's
but
like watching
also-
or reading a James Bond book from back when they were written, where like he's got like a watch that he can communicate with someone on, and like back then you would have been like, no, but then in like 20 years time they have cell phones, and like
yeah.
it's more of a common thing. So like maybe that was 10 years ahead of the tech at the time, so that allows Shield to have it. Like
Yeah, I think if to maybe improve that scene, I don't know.
Sword.
Let me know what you think. But like with that drone, they should have, as a gag, had some kind of like they needed to add jank to it. So it's like, because obviously it just looked like a drone.
yeah, it looked like
But
something out of like
maybe-
Zero Dark 30 or something like that. Like
Yeah, exactly. But like they should have. There just needed to be a layer of like old timey jank to it, like
propellers or something. Like
yeah, like weird propellers, like smokes coming out the back, and it looks very like someone hodgepodged it together, and like we can spy with this thing.
Well, it was
Like,
like in the last episode when Darcy was like, I need an old TV. And you see the old TV and you're like, that's an old TV. Immediately, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Had they have had like a flat screen, but like with all the grains on it, and they're like, this was what we used.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're
That's-
like-
yeah.
But I don't know that. So, yeah, that was my one sort of like, could have done something else. Or could have waited and done that in an episode's time or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like maybe there's probably something that they used to spy in the
It's
80s
it's
they
probably
could have used,
accurate, like, but common knowledge.
but- yeah,
I don't
maybe,
know that shit.
That's true. Maybe that is like they actually had the only replica. We're just here like shitting on it. They're like,
Yeah.
we tried really hard.
I don't know the history of drones. I don't fucking know. I don't even know drones existed until like 3 years ago. But yeah, I think that's the problem. I think drones came into the public eye very recently, and
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
out of it. I suppose you could argue like it wasn't very stealthy because they heard it inside their house. So maybe there's that element to it. Maybe that was the joke.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I don't hate it, and it didn't ruin the show by any means.
No.
But
Not at all.
I was just like, would have liked something a little bit more 80s. I think.
It's an interesting idea that they've. Excuse me, drinking alcohol, burpee. It's interesting that like they've discovered that they could go in with era appropriate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, could they get an 80s car or dress up in 80s outfit, drive in and be fine, or maybe they'll still get mind wiped? I don't really know.
Yeah, like and does it have to be specifically the 80s? Could they go in something 70s? And
That's
still,
true, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is it just
You have
anything
to go-
prior?
Yeah, up to the timestamp and anything before maybe.
Because like, I don't know, like skinny jeans are quite like a mid 2000s thing, but people still wear them today. So like,
Yeah.
is that?
So you go in skinny jeans and then she turns them into like umbrella or like parachute pants or
Yeah,
whatever.
and then your approach doesn't work. Also, could you send a person in? Because a person is like inherently from a certain time,
That's true.
and she wasn't role playing.
Yeah.
She had the illusion broke for her. At least it seemed like she was. The Ultron thing was because she mentioned Pietro, and then
Yeah.
that like broke
That's-
her illusion.
Yeah, that's a good place to actually go to, because she says when she's like, what? So the credits roll and like Vision's like, no, we're not walking away from this. We're
Oh,
having this
that was
conversation. Like, and then the credits just keep rolling and eventually they fade. brilliant. Like that's
Well, yeah, they like
fantastic.
glitched out, didn't they? They were like,
Sort of like and just go away.
yeah, as they like left the room almost. Like,
Yeah. And then she says that I think she says she didn't know what happened at first.
sorry,
And
you
then-
lost connection then.
Oh. She says like she can't remember what happened at first, or like she didn't know what happened at first, but now she's in control. I can't remember. We've only seen it once, but yeah, there seems to be some mystery still looming about the origins of the situation. And
I feel like so we commented very early on like in the first episode and then sort of ever since, because I guess we've seen it as kind of a motif. But we commented on the camera angles and the camera usage, and we were saying that like the bit after Agnes is like, do you want me to redo that? Also, that was sick. Actually, we got a few more things to talk about. But
oh yeah, the whole episode.
yeah, everything but what we've talked about already. But yeah, when Vision was like, can I speak to you? And then Wanda pisses off and they have a chat. Like those were like over the shoulder, like very tight, very personal, and didn't feel very sitcom-y.
All sort of like there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very like
close up.
well, kind of like Tom Hooper close-up type thing. So I feel like if we watched it back after the credits roll and Vision's like, no, we're gonna keep talking about this, I think anytime they step into the living room and then to the end of the episode, that's reality, and that's gonna be a like
shot like for us
yeah
as
yeah
viewers
yeah
at
like
home,
that,
as
that's
opposed
all
to-
that's all real camera work, like that's all MCU stuff.
yeah as
Like they
opposed
could
to,
have
like,
added
what Darcy's
the
watching.
black bars down the bottom to be like, no, this is real. Also, she says, sorry to bring it back to Petro, because huge
That's like the fucking huge moment.
huge trip. She says that's not her, right? She's like, I'm not ringing the doorbell. She's like, that's not me. Because Vision's having a go at her, and the doorbell goes, and he's like, stop trying to like. His
You're
look
like
is
engineering a scenario to stop this conversation.
yeah,
sort of thing.
and she's like, no, that's not me.
Oh my god, that's a good point. Yeah.
So is she losing control of what's happening?
Well, so if she doesn't remember how it started, maybe there is someone else doing something. Right. Okay. So last week, or I can't remember which week it was. Maybe you can remember. I brought up the theory about like Mephisto, who's like a deal with the devil type character from Marvel.
Yeah. That was who you said it could be. You didn't say Mordo. You were like,
Right.
you were like,
yes.
people are saying maybe Mephisto, and I was like, I don't know who that is. Yes.
Like
Go on.
again, it still feels, because we're now like halfway through the season. It would still be an ass pull if it just suddenly was that. But like, I can't help but feel like there's some deal with the devil type shit where like, at some point, she met like Mephisto, let's say, made the deal like, I want to have Vision back in my perfect life, and it's like, then she couldn't remember what happened, and then suddenly she wakes up in this beautiful reality where Vision's still alive and stuff, and then she suddenly realized it's almost like she's got this like playhouse that someone's built for her, and then she's controlling everything inside, but someone else is ultimately
It's like the
creating
kid who's
it.
in charge of the game, and who's like, no, you can't be this character because that contract, like, that childish like playing stuff where someone's in charge and they're like, no, you're gonna be Peter, King of Narnia, and you're gonna be Edmund, but we can't have any more siblings because that's not in the film. Like,
she's in the sandbox,
type
but
of thing.
ultimately it's someone else's sort of play set, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, because you were saying that in the another really cool scene that we haven't talked about, her kidnapping Vision, the corpse of Vision.
Yeah.
Also, really cool to hear non-Avenger characters refer to him as the Vision, because that was how he was introduced. Like, he was Ultron's Vision,
Yeah,
and, like,
my
the Vision. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, cool that like Vision hasn't become like common knowledge, I guess. Especially seeing as in Far From Home, there's only the one like low resolution JPEG from Civil War, which is such a cool.
Like low key, like kind of a good detail. Like not, it's still this weird mystery guy. Like
But yeah, so you were saying that she in that sequence looks like she was like possessed almost, like she's like on a mission, like
storming fucking in there, like
knows where she's going, knows what she's doing.
Yeah, like very premeditated. Like either she's been possessed or something like that, or my other thought was there's a scene that we're going to see later on that kicked her into that, like, I'm fucking going in there and stealing Vision back. And it's possibly because, as you pointed out during the episode watch, that Vision appears to be in pieces in that.
Yeah, it definitely
CCTV.
looks like there's a torso, a head, 2 arms, possibly some like it looks very much like he's in pieces. Interesting. So you saying that she knew he was the director.
Yeah, she met. That's true. Yeah. Dude, what? So maybe she was like at Sword because maybe she has to register because she's a sentient weapon or something, right? So you got the Sokovia Accords and all that, and then there's like you've got to register because you're a sentient weapon. Also, by the way, your boyfriend's corpse is here, and then she's just like, "Fuck you!" Like she's already met him, and then maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's how she knew.
Yeah,
because it's only been 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I find it so interesting that like she knows who the director of Sword is.
Yeah, because we established from Rambeau
that
he's
that
new.
happens. Well, I guess
During
that
the
happened
snap.
during the snap. Yeah. So why within those 3 weeks would she know that?
She's suddenly familiar with the director, or is it because she can read minds? Because Rambeau is like,
True.
you know what I'm like, and blah blah blah.
And she,
So many
I guess
questions.
she just like she storms out and sees this one bloke stood in the middle. But then again, like director, like it's so specific.
It's a big logic leap, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it's either going to be explained that she knows who he is before, or it's gonna be explained that it's mind reading. I hope it's one of the two, unless she like meets Jimmy. It's like, you're Jimmy Woo, like she does it again later, and you're like, okay, I guess we can figure out from that she knows people.
No, stop doing it. Get to know people normally, please.
Oh man.
right.
Okay, yeah. So other things to talk about in this episode.
Yes.
Agnes coming in and being like totally chill with like the kids growing up fast and all this shit. That she seems very clued in. Which I kind of liked. I was like, yeah, okay, it's a bit of a TV show trope, I guess.
Yeah, sort of glossing over the weird scenarios, like almost like jumping the shark situation. Like you just go with it.
And then also, possibly my like, I guess 3rd or 4th favorite moment of the show, of like this episode rather. Norm going from terrified human being to sitcom actor in like a fucking beat. Like that dude, I was like, damn son, that's some acting right there.
That was talent right there.
It was crisp. It was like you knew exactly where like his head was at. Like the character changed. Like it just went from like crying to like, hey dude, like he like cracked a,
How do I put a stamp on an email?
Yeah, like he like said a punchline to a joke that was set up like way before. Like
Yeah. That was very impressive. That was really cool.
Spot on.
But creepy as well. Like that poor guy.
Oh yeah.
Like you completely understand like in the next scene why Vision is so fucking pissed because like people are terrified of what's going on.
Oh, like another cool moment was when he calls, like there was so many in this episode.
This is a fantastic bit of television.
It's a fantastic podcast because we're just going and then. But so before the credits roll, I think the last line Wanda says is, Vision says, "You can't control me like you can them," and she says, "Can't I?"
Can't I?
She's like, "Can't I?"
And that's when the credits roll, I think.
Yeah, and then the credits start to roll, and I was like,
yeah, and then he's like, "No, we're having this conversation."
"Oh, that was." Just gonna say it. Another bit of critique from Neek. That should be a segment we do every week.
Critique from Neek.
This week's
Critique from
Neek. It'll be a weekly segment. Not a fan of the theme song this week.
It's very like lovey-dovey.
I preferred all the other ones to what we got this week.
It's almost like melancholic, like we're happy.
Yeah. It felt very like tongue in cheek. I do like. I said this to you. I kind of think that maybe that was Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. I'm like,
I could totally get it if it was that, but also I don't think the male singer's voice sounded like Vision.
It sounded like it should be from their it should be in character. But maybe I don't know, maybe Paul Bettany can't sing, and maybe that's like the one thing he can't do, because he can do everything else apparently. But yeah, man, I'm so at the moment. Spoilers for The Mandalorian. But at the moment, my wallpaper on my laptop is Ahsoka. Like, she does like a look in the episode of The Mandalorian season 2. Yeah. And I'm kind of thinking about maybe changing it to Vision and Wanda fucking floating over the... That was some cool shit.
You ever get so mad that you start to float?
Regularly, but usually I've had a lot of brownies baked by a special friend before I do. Now I'm just playing. Yeah, no, imagine that being how your emotions are portrayed.
All right, if we're doing critique by Neek, I want to do That's a Sham by Sam.
Okay. Is this like a blooper they've made, like a cock up you noticed, or?
No, it's just a commentary on like the wire work of the floating. Like, you can always tell when they're in that harness and he's sort of
they're trying to balance.
Yeah.
But is that the 80s still playing in?
Oh God, why are you so right?
Like,
all right,
because that's never been an issue during any of the films.
And I've been saying this for years, and I've probably said it in a podcast like years ago. But Marvel Studios seem to nail wire work. Fox with all their XMen, like without fail, every single movie there'd be dodgy wire work. Like Wolverine would do some bullshit jump, or Beast would do some stupid shit. But without, like, Marvel Studios just nail it every single time. So
yeah, they don't. You could be
right on that.
They don't seem to get the gravity quite right.
Yeah,
but it was. I think it's because they were doing that like superhero, like proper iconic from the comics moment of like floating, one leg bent, the other stretched out.
That's true, yeah.
But like you could see them like trying not to tilt, like.
Yeah, because they were probably it's just 2 pivot points like on their waist or something.
So, but unless they do it in a future episode with, like, when they're in full makeup, where you got the black bars top and bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's in keeping with the time.
The 80s jank.
Like,
yeah.
I hope.
Other hiccups. Small things that I want to bring up. One, I had seen some people online say that like Vision's eyes didn't have like the sort of the almost camera lens look to
digital,
them, which I don't think they have had until the scene right at the end where they're on the sofa and he's like, I can't trust you and stuff. In that scene, he definitely has like extra lines on his eyes and stuff.
Oh, really?
If it is the lens. Yeah. I could swear I could see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but like
to me, like I've not heard about the rumors that he hasn't had them, so like I guess it just I wouldn't look out for it. But if you were kind of half looking out for it, I'd totally believe that.
It's one of those weird details. Like I remember thinking this like back when Age of Ultron came out. Like it was just like needlessly complicated to do. Like to add these sort of like digital CG lenses to his eyes.
It kind of seems like it. Like I'm skipping very.
I can hear it.
You should be able to. It's on mute, but you might have been able to hear it briefly before I muted it.
There we go.
That's fine. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's something more. Oh, sorry. Oh, it was playing on yours as well. Disney Plus, watch together.
Sharing, baby. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's been there the whole time, or because it was such a serious scene, they brought it back.
Because it was like a scene. Maybe it was like in that one scene where he's like, "Something's wrong here, Wanda." Like maybe.
Yeah. Suddenly it's like coming back to the sort of true reality of it. But yeah, I just remember thinking back in the day, that seems like you've given yourself a needlessly complicated task, like Weta Digital or whoever it was that does the CG. Like, you now have to, in every single scene he's in, give him weird lensy eyes, because that's not something you can do with contact lenses. Like, I'm pretty sure they move.
You could have like
a distant shot,
digital shot, but like you can't have them move. I definitely know the sequence you're talking about, in which there's like a close up, like it's very like.
It's like, I'm a robot. Anyway, the other thing that I wanted to bring up, very like small thing, not that exciting, but Rambeau gets sad when Captain Marvel's brought up.
Yes, very strangely. A part of me is like, I guess between Captain Marvel and Endgame, so like the entirety of Monica's life since we've seen her, I guess she hasn't returned, because that's kind of the vibe I got from that. Like,
yeah, like she hasn't said hello.
No one seemed to know who she was, but then
that's true. Yeah,
like Jimmy Woo seemed to know details about the final fight in Endgame, because he was like, I'm pretty sure Captain Marvel helped.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like they say that Wanda
could have beat him to begin with.
Could have killed Thanos on her own, and then he's like, well, Captain Marvel also could have killed. On her own.
So like, I guess they know about that big final battle.
Wait, okay, was it you or was it the show that brought up the fact that both of them got their powers from Infinity Stones?
No, it was the show. Because I was like, I didn't know that. Mainly because I've seen Captain Marvel once.
I love that, mate. If I was like 14 again, this show would, like, it's still amazing, but I would have been like dying watching this show, because these are all these details that I wish they'd acknowledge, and then like they actually are now, because they have time to do it. They're like, these two people straight up got their powers from Infinity Stones.
It made me. I was watching Age of Ultron the other day, small sidetrack, and I was telling my friend who I was watching it with, me and Alan watched it together, and I was telling him about how I think that might have been the first MCU movie I watched with you, probably.
It's entirely possible, yeah.
Like, because we all went, all the boys went, and
No, we saw Guardians together, didn't we? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, was that before? Oh yeah, that would have been before. Yeah. Holy shit. But yeah, so that was like one of the earliest times. I just remember Thor mentioning the Infinity Stones, and you like standing up and like punching the air.
Yeah.
And I was telling my housemate about that, because I was just like, that's hilarious. That's the nerdiest thing Sam's ever done.
Oh yeah, I sort of cringe thinking about that theater experience, because every reference that happened, I was like, ah!
Yeah, that was 14-year-old you creaming over the content we were getting. But you weren't 14.
Yeah, I was like 16, 17.
16, 17, something like that.
Oh god, 2015.
We're getting too old for this. We need to stop.
We are younger than like over 50% of the YouTubers that talk about this same subject. I guarantee you.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we're not Red Letter Media or anything like.
Bearded, bald men.
Yeah, we've got something going for us.
Yeah, I have hair on my head and you have hair on your face.
It's coming back, baby.
It's coming back, baby.
2 weeks of growth. We didn't do that at the beginning of the episode. But yeah,
beard check.
that was a very cool like bring up, like, because it reminded me, like, I forgot that Captain Marvel got it from the Infinity Stones, like.
Yeah, do you remember it now?
It's in the flashback, right? In the
the big blue energy that blows up from the engine because she crashed.
I was picturing like while she's fighting with Jude Law, like something.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But no, now I remember, and that's why the Tesseract is such a big part of that film.
Yeah, because it was a self-sacrifice as well. Like, she knew that the alien at the time, like, she was like, oh, there's an alien. And he wants to get his hands on this experimental engine. So instead of shooting the alien, she shoots the engine, and then that gives her
And then Nirvana plays, and it's all very good. Should we wrap it up there?
I think so. I mean, we've gushed for 40 minutes.
We really have gushed. Like, this has been consistent.
It feels like it's all built up over a year. We haven't had any Marvel to like scream at, so we've been screaming at Star Wars instead.
Orgasmic relief.
Yeah. How insane is that? That there's like an X-Men character.
Mate, I'm so excited to see where that goes. And to see what's referenced, like if they bring back like
right, okay, final
Sweet
thoughts.
Dreams are made of these.
Things
I've
that
just
worry
gone
me.
over the maximum recording, so this will be in 2 bits.
Ah, shit. Okay,
Son of a bitch.
Damn it. Okay.
Let's go for another 40 minutes.
The things that worry me are that they're going to... I don't want it to connect too well to the X-Men stuff. Like, it needs to be, like, tangentially related, because I don't want to get to the point where you have to do an MCU rewatch and you have to watch the X-Men movies.
Mate, the Fox Marvel films don't connect enough for them to worry about it.
No.
I can promise you the maximum this will be is a multiverse thing. Like, whereas you've got Earth 616, which is the MCU, and then everything else is elsewhere. But I part of me is like, I don't think they're gonna do that. I feel like this is genuinely just a recast for whatever reason.
Or anything, if anything, it's like a very like well thought out, smart acknowledgement that they have the X-Men. But like, I seriously hope they do recast all of the X-Men and start again.
Yeah,
please, for God's sake.
Well, even if they don't recast, start again. Like, if you want to keep McAvoy and Fassbender. Sure.
Keep McAvoy and Fassbender. Get rid of fucking Sansa Stark and the guy from Ready Player One.
Hey, he was there.
He was shooting beams out of his eyes.
Why not? Yeah. I think they should get rid of everyone. Bringing Gus Fring as any character in the MCU.
Yeah, just. Yeah, start again.
Give me Moff Gideon as any character in the MCU. That's all I want.
It's not even a question of if at this point, it's when. When is that guy going to show up?
For sure.
Oh my god! She opens the door. You see the back of the hair.
It's a white neck. What's wrong? Aren't you going to give your brother a hug? Ding, 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 ding. Oh, fuck.
I wish I could remember the actor's name.
It's
just Moff Gideon. Just at the door.
It's Gus Fring or Moff Gideon.
Darcy doesn't even know. She's like, they recast?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, okay. Giancarlo Esposito. There you go. Perfect.
Great actor.
He's the new Quicksilver.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, let's because I'm also over the limit now. Cool. Wow, what an episode.
What a time. I'm very excited to talk about this next week.
Oh, yeah, mate. The only way is up. It keeps getting better. If you enjoyed the episode, tell us what you liked about it. No one's going to comment. Anyway, Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave a like and smack subscribe. And thank you very much. Cheers. Almost poked myself in the eye.
You idiot.